What's going on, guys? We'll get started here in just a second. Let Facebook do its thing. Hopefully everyone's having a great week thus far, having a good Thursday so far. It's in Omaha. It's like 90 degrees here, so finally it's starting to feel like summer, which is a good thing. So I'll dive into it here, and I'll kind of go over the topic, and then I should have a little bit of time, as always. Hey, Marlene, as always, I do have time for Q&A, so if you do hop on the live, if you have any questions or comments on anything that I cover, or if it's just, completely in left field, I should have like 5 or 10 minutes once I finish to, answer any questions that you have. So if you're curious about something or have a question, don't be bashful, don't be shy, just drop it in the comments below. But I'm going to get started here. We're a minute in, so we got some people hopping on. What I really wanted to cover here is give you, as I always say, and a mentor back in the corporate world 10 years ago, he always made it a point, when you read a book or you listen to a podcast or you watch a YouTube video, the goal shouldn't be to digest and try to implement, every little thing in that. So I know I say this from time to time, but hopefully you can just take 1 or 2 things that I cover here in the next 5 to 7 minutes to implement in your own health and fitness journey, or maybe get you thinking in a different way. And that's what my purpose and goal is whenever I do these calls, is for you to take 1, 2 nuggets away that you can implement in your fitness journey that can hopefully, benefit you long term. And I think if you approach it with that perspective, not to be braggy or douchey, but hopefully I'm confident that you can take at least, something away from these calls. So that said, what I'm going to cover today is kind of an example of how, if we bring in a client, how we would dial in the nutrition, how we approach it, and how we truly, work with them. And I think this is just a good example just to show you 2 things, give you some input in how you should look at things, and then also for you guys that might be, interested in coaching or whatever. If I go through this and you think, God, I could smash my health and fitness goals if I had something like this dial in, and then you can obviously, reach out and we can see if it's a fit. But so as far as nutrition goes, guys, speaking with so many of you, if you want to make any type of physical change, whether it's, losing weight or building lean muscle, or losing body fat, toning up, which is losing body fat and building or maintaining lean muscle at the same time, nutrition is going to drive 70, 80+% of those results. And I hear so many times, someone's like, I have 40 pounds to lose, but I think my issue is, I can't work out. I don't have time. I have kids. I have a busy career. And it's like, you being 40 pounds overweight, working out would just be a bonus. You give me somebody that has 40 pounds to lose and we just dial in the nutrition, they could drop that weight without literally working out at all. Now, is that realistic? Is working out important? For sure. I'm not saying that, but nutrition drives 80, 90% of the results. And just so you know, it's not only important, nutrition is not only important for physical changes, but your energy, how your body recovers. As you get older, you don't want to be frail and fragile. So nutrition and how you feel your body drives your strength, and how your body responds to stress and how you sleep. Nutrition drives that part of the equation too. And you have guys have probably seen with me is, I believe in balance. I believe in having a healthy relationship with food. So when someone comes in with us, and I think it's easier if I just pretend I'm speaking with a prospective person, but we really focus in on the education and teaching you and showing you how you can still eat and drink things that you like and enjoy. It's cliche, but still go off and live your best life and still lose the weight and fix this and get results. Because everybody, it seems like we've spoke to, have tried every little thing that you see out there, right? Put you on a strict meal plan, take away your carbs, take away sugar, take away alcohol, say you can't go out to eat anymore, you can't celebrate birthdays, you can't take vacations. And would that work? Certainly. It works for a week or 2, and then boom, life happens, and here we all over again, right? So it's not just about putting in place something that works, but what is truly sustainable? What can we put in place nutrition-wise that's a permanent change that we can say with a high degree of certainty, this person can go off and do this for years to come, is the goal. And we do that by doing 2 things. So the first thing is, bring somebody in and truly build a tailored nutrition plan around them and their lifestyle. The most important being lifestyle, because everybody's life is different. No two lives look the exact same. And we really need to understand a client and what they do career wise and how they spend their time. What do their weekends look like? What do their day to day and weeks to weeks look like? Because it has to fit that. I was talking to a woman a couple weeks ago, and she's like, my friend lost a whole bunch of weight, and she was, making 6 meals a day, small meals, 200-300 calories a pop, and that really, worked for her. I feel like I need to do something like that. And I was joking with her. I'm like, I bet your friend doesn't have kids, does she? And she's like, no. And I'm like, I bet, are they married? And she's like, no, has a boyfriend. I'm like, well, you have 3 kids, you're married, you work 50, 60, 70 plus hours per week. Like, that's just not going to fit your lifestyle. Could it work? Yeah, maybe, but can you do that? No. So it's like, why are we focusing in on that? Because that's something, even if it did work, we can't implement in your life. So understanding someone's lifestyle is very important, but then also specifically, like, come in and say, okay, what foods could you eat every single day and never get sick of? What don't you mind here and there? What do you hate? Any food allergies, restrictions? It's important that we have people, and for you and your journey, to actually eat foods that you like and enjoy. Because if we put in place something for a client where we had them, scarf down things that they absolutely hated, it's just going to become a matter of time before they quit. So we want to make sure they're eating things that they truly like, because again, that's going to allow them to be the most consistent, which is going to allow them to get the result that they're after. And then beside that, it's like, do you like to cook? Is cooking not your thing? Do you want meals that are 5 minutes or less to make? Or do you feel like it suits you better to, meal prep and kind of plan ahead? How many meals a day is realistic for you? Who does the cooking in the household? Because if we're working with a client and they're married and they have, a husband and they have like 3 kids that are over 10, it's not only about what that client likes, but most women that we talk to don't want to be making, 3 separate meals every night for dinner. So it's like creating synergy between not only them, but the entire, household as well. And like, understand how often they go out to eat. Where do they typically go? How often they drink? When they drink, what do they drink? And truly take that and build something that's tailored for them and their life. Because very important piece here, when the nutrition is done right and it's sustainable, it should not feel like a diet. I'm going to repeat that. When the nutrition is done right and it's sustainable, it shouldn't even feel like a diet. Now, do you have to make some changes to change? Absolutely. But like, I just kind of thought of this, but like, and hopefully, again, I say this a lot, but hopefully this doesn't come across as me, being braggy or douchey. But like last Sunday, I went golfing with my future brother-in-law and a couple of his buddies, and like I had a polo on, and I did arms Sunday morning too. And they were just talking to me like, Bo, like you're in incredible shape. What diet do you follow? And they were asking me, and I'm like, I don't diet. Like, you guys just saw me drink, 3 Coors Lights during 18 holes, and like, I've done nutrition long enough. I know what my body needs. I know how to fuel it. I know how to just, eat intuitively, look at food and beverages and know like what it's made up of as far as calories and macros. Like, I know that stuff in my head, and I can just go off and live my life. And that really summarizes what we want every client that we work with, so they can experience long-term that exact same thing for themselves, because that's going to be sustainable and that's going to be truly a permanent lifestyle change. That's the first thing. The second thing is, when someone comes in with us, and if you're doing this your own, like why I'm such a huge component of accountability, because we bring in a client, like we dial in the communication and that relationship where we're sometimes speaking every single day, and we know in real time what they're having, when they're having it, how much they're having. So obviously when you lock in that type of accountability, unless someone is like lying or hiding, which really never happens with us, like we're going to know exactly what they're doing. So in turn, they become very conscious about their food decisions. So many people get in trouble nutrition-wise because they have unconscious behavior, right? They're hungry and they'll grab a Snickers bar. They're hungry and they'll grab this. They don't even think about it until like after, then 15 minutes later, they're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have ate that ice cream. I shouldn't have ordered that off DoorDash or whatever, right? Not saying our clients don't still have those things from time to time, but they put more thought into it. And the more, just in life in general, but in your health and fitness journey, the more conscious decisions and actions that you take, the higher likelihood of making decisions and choices that are positive and not negative. So it's constantly top of mind, which is important. Everyone benefits from locking in accountability. But this is also how we help them and support them and make adjustments and take the time to explain why we're doing what we're doing, because long term we want to get them to a place where they can do the nutrition themselves. So as some examples of what that might look like, it might look like coming in and saying, hey, so and so, you undereat for a couple days and then you go overboard. Then you'll undereat for a couple days and then you'll go overboard. Like, we need you to understand that, yes, I know you want to lose this weight yesterday and we're trying to lose weight, but you still have to make sure you're fueling your body in the proper way. This is why your energy sucks and you can't play with your kids and you hit a wall at 3 p.m. because you go 8-9 hours without eating and then you gorge yourself. So let's make these adjustments. Or, hey, we're working with somebody, we got them working out, they're doing resistance training, but we notice that their protein intake is quite low. We're going to come in and say, hey, so-and-so, next time you go grocery shopping, here's a couple snacks to get and have on hand when you're working. Have these between meals here and there. This is going to be able to get your protein intake to adequate levels where you need it, so you're not frail and fragile, and you can build lean muscle in this process, okay, and recover from your workouts. Or the big one is helping people navigate life, because we've all been there, and we see this with clients all the time, like where Monday through Friday they're really good, and maybe they're down 2, 3, 4 pounds, and they're tickled to death, and clothes are fitting better, and they have momentum. But then, boom, they got a weekend where it's a birthday party, or they're traveling on a 3-day weekend getaway, they're going out on date night or out with friends, whatever. Coming in on like a Thursday or Friday and say, hey, so what are you doing this weekend? Where are you going? Are you going to a restaurant? Send us the menu. What were you eyeing? Based on what we know that you like, here are 2 or 3 options off that menu for you to, stick to, right? But go off, enjoy yourself, have fun, and then we're going to touch base with you bright and early on Monday to see how it went and how you did. That's so powerful, because we have clients, and you mess up and you screw up on the weekends, right? But like, long term, that happens. Like, you're never going to be perfect. We all have our moments, myself included, but I see what really gets people in trouble is they eat like crap on the weekend, and they have so much shame or guilt around that, like, oh my God, I shouldn't have ate that. Why did I drink so much? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? And they focus so much on the past that's not productive. There's literally zero that can come from that's good. Acknowledge it, recognize what happened, and then move on and try to improve moving forward. So what I mean by this is, if we have a client that screws up or falls off the wagon on a Saturday, Sunday, it's like, okay, cool, move on, do the next right thing. I say that all the time. My clients are probably sick of me saying that, but do the next right thing. You can't control the past. Let's just focus on what you can do on Sunday to get back on track, or Monday. And like, one bad day just turns into one bad day. But I see when people are left to their own devices, right? Like, one bad day can turn into like weeks or months or 6 months in a very dark place. Like, talk to women before that, went on vacation or whatever, and that's what really, set them off, and they never recovered, and they just continue to eat like crap for days, weeks, months into the future, right? So my point of this is like, our goal is to really not only drive results, but really educate somebody and teach them, to show them exactly what they need to do so they can go off and do this nutrition themselves. Because that's the end goal in our program, is like, we don't need to work with people for 5, 10 plus years. Yeah, that'd be great, for me financially, right? But like, it's not what's best for you. So our goal is to get you to a place where we dial in the nutrition, you get results, we make a permanent lifestyle change that you can go off and do forever and never have to spend, time, energy, money, effort on something like this ever again, and just go off and live your best life. So I went way longer than I thought I would on that, but hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully that drives the point home. I don't see any questions. Let me just double check. No. So if you guys have any questions on that, just drop them in the comments below, and be more than glad to answer them. If you have any questions on anything, I get notifications and I see these. So like, you're in here because you do have a health and fitness school. So like, it's a sign of strength by raising your hand up and asking a question. It's weakness, it's cowardly to just hide. And that's what gets people in trouble. And I know that's like reverse of what society tells us, but I think there's strength in raising your hand up and say, hey, I need help with this, or I have a question about this. Don't be bashful, don't be shy. Like, I'm here to help you. So that said, I'll leave you with that. Hopefully that's helpful. Any questions, let me know, and then we'll see you guys next week. Peace.